Hello everyone, in this video only the overview and verses on Sirach 37 and 38 will be read to you. A separate video with commentaries and reflection questions with model answers will be released later.
An overview of Sirach 37. Verses 1 to 6 discusses the importance of true friendship. The author warns against false friends who are only interested in your possessions or status. True friends, on the other hand, will stand by you through thick and thin. Verses 7 to 9 warns against the dangers of bad advice. The author says that some people give advice only to advance their own interests. They may tell you something is a good idea when it is really not, just so they can benefit from your misfortune. Verses 10 to 11 give specific examples of people to avoid seeking advice from. These include your father-in-law, an envious person, a woman about her rival, a coward about war, a merchant about business, a buyer about value, a miser about generosity, a cruel person about well-being, a worthless worker about his work, a seasonal laborer about the harvest, and an idle slave about a great task. Verses 12 to 15 concludes by saying that we should instead associate with religious people who keep the commandments and are like-minded with us. We should also heed our own heart's counsel, because it is the best source of wisdom. Verses 16 to 18 talk about the importance of words and thoughts. The author says that words are the source of every deed, and thoughts are the source of every act. This means that our words and thoughts have a powerful impact on our actions. If we speak and think good things, we will do good things. But if we speak and think evil things, we will do evil things. Verse 19 says that a wise person can benefit many, but still appear foolish to himself. This means that even if we are wise, we may not always see ourselves as wise. We may make mistakes and say or do things that we later regret. But if we continue to learn and grow, we will eventually become wise in our own eyes. Verses 20 to 21 talk about the importance of being wise for yourself and for others. The author says that if we are wise for ourselves, we will benefit from our wisdom. But if we are wise for others, our wisdom will benefit everyone. This means that we should always strive to be wise, both for our own sake and for the sake of others. Verses 22 to 24 talk about the benefits of being wise. The author says that when we are wise, we will enjoy life and be praised by others. We will also leave a lasting legacy. This means that wisdom is not just about knowing the right thing to do. It is also about living the right way and making a difference in the world. Verses 25 to 26 talk about the importance of living a long and meaningful life. The author says that the life of Israel is endless, but the life of an individual is only temporary. This means that we should make the most of our time on earth and live our lives in a way that will make a difference. Verses 27 to 31 talk about the importance of self-control and moderation. The author says that we should not overindulge in anything, not even food. This is because overindulgence can lead to sickness and death. We should instead practice self-control and moderation in all things. Sirach 37 verses 1 to 15. 1. Every friend declares friendship, but there are friends who are friends in name only. 2. Is it not a sorrow unto death when your other self becomes your enemy? 3. Alas, my companion! Why were you created to fill the earth with deceit? 4. A harmful friend will look to your table, but in time of trouble he stands aloof. 5. A good friend will fight with you against the foe, and against your enemies he will hold up your shield. 6. Do not forget your comrade during the battle, and do not neglect him when you distribute your spoils. 7. Every counselor points out a way, but some counsel ways of their own. 8. Watch out when one offers advice, find out first of all what he wants. For he also may be thinking of himself, why should the opportunity fall to him? 9. He may tell you how good your way will be, and then stand by to see you impoverished. 10. Seek no advice from your father-in-law, and from one who is envious of you, keep your intentions hidden. 11. Seek no advice from a woman about her rival, from a coward about war, from a merchant about business, from a buyer about value, from a miser about generosity, from a cruel person about well-being, from a worthless worker about his work, from a seasonal laborer about the harvest, from an idle slave about a great task. Pay no attention to any advice they give. 12. Instead, associate with a religious person, who you know keeps the commandments, who is like-minded with yourself and will grieve for you if you fall. 13. Then, too, heed your own heart's counsel, for there is nothing you can depend on more. 14. The heart can reveal your situation better than 7 sentinels on a tower. 15. Then with all this, pray to God to make your steps firm in the true path. Sirach 37 verses 16 to 31. Wisdom and temperance. 16. A word is the source of every deed, a thought, of every act. 17. The root of all conduct is the heart. 18. 4 branches it shoots forth, good and evil, death and life, and their absolute mistress is the tongue. 19. One may be wise and benefit many, yet appear foolish to himself. 20. One may be wise, but if his words are rejected, he will be deprived of all enjoyment. 22. When one is wise to his own advantage, the fruits of knowledge are seen in his own person. 23. When one is wise to the advantage of people, the fruits of knowledge are lasting. 24. One wise for himself has full enjoyment, and all who see him praise him. 25. The days of one's life are numbered. But the life of Israel, days without number. 26. One wise among the people wins a heritage of glory, and his name lives on and on. 27. My son, while you are well, govern your appetite, and see that you do not allow it what is bad for you. 28. For not everything is good for everyone, nor is everything suited to every taste. 29. Do not go to excess with any enjoyment, neither become a glutton for choice foods. 30. For sickness comes with overeating, and gluttony brings on nausea. 31. Through lack of self-control many have died, but the abstemious one prolongs life. An overview of Sirach 38. Verses 1 to 8. These verses talk about the importance of doctors and medicine. The author says that doctors are essential to us and that God has given them wisdom and knowledge to heal us. He also says that we should not neglect the healing herbs that God has provided. Verses 9 to 15. These verses talk about the importance of prayer and faith when we are sick. The author says that we should pray to God for healing and that we should also seek the help of doctors. He warns that those who are sinners before God may not be healed. Verses 16 to 23. These verses talk about the importance of mourning when someone dies. The author says that we should weep and wail for the dead, but that we should not grieve for too long. He says that grief can lead to death and that we should remember that the dead will not return. The author of Sirach 38 seems to have a balanced view of sickness and death. He acknowledges that doctors and medicine can be helpful, but he also emphasizes the importance of prayer and faith. He also recognizes that grief is a natural response to death, but he warns against excessive grief. The verses from Sirach 38 can still be relevant today. They offer us wise advice on how to deal with sickness, death, and grief. They remind us that we should not neglect the help of doctors and medicine, but that we should also pray to God for healing and strength. They also remind us that grief is a natural response to death, but that we should not let it consume us. Verses 24 to 26, these verses talk about the scribe and the wisdom that comes from being free from toil. The author says that the scribe's wisdom increases wisdom, and that anyone who is free from toil can become wise. He contrasts this with the farmer, who is concerned with plowing furrows and fattening livestock. Verses 27 to 30, these verses talk about the skilled worker and the toil that they must endure. The author says that the engraver, the smith, and the potter are all skilled with their hands, but that they must toil day and night to produce their work. He also says that they are not sought out for positions of leadership or authority. Verses 31 to 33, these verses conclude by saying that the skilled worker is essential to society, but that they are not given the same respect as those in positions of authority. The author says that the skilled worker cannot understand law and justice, and that they are not found among the rulers. The author of Sirach 38 seems to have a mixed view of the skilled worker. On the one hand, he acknowledges that they are essential to society and that they produce valuable goods and services. On the other hand, he seems to believe that they are not as wise or as intelligent as those in positions of authority. Sirach 38 verses 1 to 23. Sickness and death. 1. Make friends with the doctor, for he is essential to you. God has also established him in his profession. 2. From God the doctor has wisdom, and from the king he receives sustenance. 3. Knowledge makes the doctor distinguished, and gives access to those in authority. 4. God makes the earth yield healing herbs which the prudent should not neglect. 5. Was not the water sweetened by a twig, so that all might learn his power? 6. He endows people with knowledge, to glory in his mighty works. 7. Through which the doctor eases pain. 8. And the druggist prepares his medicines. Thus God's work continues without cease in its efficacy on the surface of the earth. 9. My son, when you are ill, do not delay, but pray to God, for it is He who heals. 10. Flee wickedness and purify your hands, cleanse your heart of every sin. 11. Offer your sweet-smelling oblation and memorial, a generous offering according to your means. 12. Then give the doctor his place lest he leave, you need him too. 13. For there are times when recovery is in his hands. 14. He too prays to God that his diagnosis may be correct and his treatment bring about a cure. 15. Whoever is a sinner before his Maker will be defiant toward the doctor. 16. My son, shed tears for one who is dead with wailing and bitter lament, as is only proper, prepare the body, and do not absent yourself from the burial. 17. Weeping bitterly, mourning fully, pay your tribute of sorrow, as deserved, a day or two, to prevent gossip, then compose yourself after your grief. 18. For grief can bring on death, and heartache can sap one's strength. 19. When a person is carried away, sorrow is over, and the life of the poor one is grievous to the heart. 20. Do not turn your thoughts to him again, cease to recall him, think rather of the end. 21. Do not recall him, for there is no hope of his return, you do him no good, and you harm yourself. 22. Remember that his fate will also be yours, for him it was yesterday, for you today. 23. With the dead at rest, let memory cease, be consoled, once the spirit has gone. Sirach 38 verses 24 to 33. Vocations of the skilled worker and the scribe. 24. The scribe's wisdom increases wisdom, whoever is free from toil can become wise. 25. How can one become learned who guides the plow, and thrills in wielding the goad like a lance, who guides the ox and urges on the bullock, and whose every concern is for cattle? 26. His concern is to plow furrows, and he is careful to fatten the livestock. 27. So with every engraver and designer who, laboring night and day, fashions carved seals, and whose concern is to vary the pattern. His determination is to produce a lifelike impression, and he is careful to finish the work. 28. So too the smith sitting by the anvil, intent on the iron he forges. The flame from the fire sears his flesh, yet he toils away in the furnace heat. The clang of the hammer deafens his ears, his eyes are on the object he is shaping. His determination is to finish the work, and he is careful to perfect it in detail. 29. So also the potter sitting at his labor, revolving the wheel with his feet. He is always concerned for his products, and turns them out in quantity. 30. With his hands he molds the clay, and with his feet softens it. His determination is to complete the glazing, and he is careful to fire the kiln. 31. All these are skilled with their hands, each one an expert at his own work. 32. Without them no city could be lived in, and wherever they stay, they do not go hungry. But they are not sought out for the counsel of the people. 33. Nor are they prominent in the assembly. They do not sit on the judge's bench, nor can they understand law and justice. They cannot expound discipline or judgment, nor are they found among the rulers.
Thank you for viewing. May God bless you today and always.